Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the webinar held by Rethink Sugary Drink, Nutrition Australia and VicHealth. The webinar is titled Reducing Sugary Drinks Availability in Sports and Recreation Centres. Just before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we are holding this webinar on today, the Boonwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. I also pay my respects to their elders past and present and all Aboriginal people listening to the webinar today. So my name is Alice Bastable. I'm a dietitian and campaign manager at Cancer Council Victoria, and I'm joined today by Kate Wilkinson, who is a dietitian at Nutrition Australia and the coordinator for sport and recreation for the Healthy Eating Advisory Service. We're also lucky to be joined by Tara Hennigan, who is a public health nutritionist who works at VicHealth and is currently the Senior Project Officer in the Healthy Eating Division. Just to explain how this webinar will work, it's approximately going to be running for about 1 hour, and at the end of the presentation, we will then open up the question and answer function. During the presentation, the Q&A function will be turned off, so if you have any questions that haven't been answered, the time to submit those will be following the presentation, and we'll let you know when we do that. The aims of this webinar are to increase your understanding about how to reduce sugary drink availability in your sporting club or your recreation centre, to help increase your confidence in making and sustaining changes that you may have made, and to increase your awareness of the resources and support that are currently available. Sport, physical and activity go hand in hand, and sport and rec centres play a very vital role in helping people lead healthy and active lives. Selling sugary drinks in these environments undermines the healthy choices that Australians are making. It's more important than ever to make these sports clubs and recreation centres part of the solution, so we hope that you enjoy today's webinar and get a lot of information out of it. During this webinar, if you are having any connection problems, you can dial in from a phone. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to call the number on this slide and you'll need to quote the meeting or access number. If you're having any technical support problems with the webinar, you'll need to contact WebEx on the number on your screen. If you need to leave early or you've had colleagues that were unable to participate today, a recording of the webinar will be available on the website, Rethink Sugary Drinks. The link is there, and we will send out some correspondence to you with the link when it's up and ready to be viewed online. So what we'll be covering today, we'll be setting the scene about the political environment and what policies exist in Victoria regarding reducing sugary drinks, and that will be through discussing the Healthy Choices guidelines. We'll then outline some of the great work that VicHealth is doing in the Water and Sport Initiative. We'll share some case studies and suggested strategies for implementing these changes and combating any resistance to these changes. We'll be highlighting the Rethink Sugary Drink campaign, and we'll also be launching the competition Best and Fairest today. We'll wrap it up with talking about the Healthy Eating Advisory Service, or the HEAS, and what services and support that they can offer you for making these changes happen. At this point, we'll conclude the presentation and we will open up the question and answer session, and that's when you'll be able to submit any questions that you may have. So I will now pass on to our first speaker, Kate Wilkinson from the Healthy Eating Advisory Service, who will talk about the Healthy Choices guidelines in Victoria. So welcome, Kate.
Thanks very much, Alice. So I will now give an overview of the Healthy Choices policy and guidelines, which underpins the initiatives around reducing or removing sugary drinks in Victoria. Healthy Choices is a framework for improving the provision and promotion of healthier foods and drinks that are available in the community through food and drink retail outlets, vending machines and catering. The Victorian Government developed the Healthy Choices guidelines to help make sure that healthy foods and drinks are offered and promoted in places like hospitals, health services, sport and recreation centres, parks and general workplaces. The Healthy Choices guidelines were initially developed by the Department of Health in 2010 to support the provision of healthy foods and drinks in Victorian public hospitals. The guidelines went through a significant update back in 2014 so that they were in line with our new updated national guidelines, the Australian Dietary Guidelines. The scope of the Healthy Choices policy was also extended so it could be applied in other settings, such as sport and recreation centres and parks, which weren't covered previously. The branding and some of the elements of the classifications were last updated back in December 2016. Healthy Choices uses a traffic light system to classify foods and drinks as green, amber or red based on their nutritional value. Green foods and drinks are the healthiest choices. They are usually good sources of important nutrients, lower in saturated fat, added sugar and or salt, lower in kilojoules or energy, and higher in fibre. Green foods and drinks are also based on the 5 food groups in the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating. Water is also a very important part of the green category. Green foods and drinks should always be available and they should be promoted as the best choices. Amber foods and drinks should be selected carefully and consumed in moderation. Although amber items may provide some valuable nutrients, they can also lead you to take in too much energy or kilojoules and contain saturated fat, added sugar or salt. Amber foods and drinks may be offered but should not dominate the menu and they should not be promoted over green choices. Red foods and drinks are based on the discretionary choices outlined in the Australian Dietary Guidelines. They are generally not essential in a balanced diet and contribute to excess energy intake, overweight and obesity and chronic disease if consumed frequently or in large amounts. In general, red choices are high in energy or kilojoules, high in saturated fat, added sugar and added salt, and often lacking in important nutrients such as fibre. Red foods and drinks should be limited. And when talking about sugary drinks generally fall under the red category. These include regular soft drinks, sports drinks, flavoured iced teas and mineral waters, energy drinks and slushies. Artificially sweetened drinks generally fall under the amber category, as well as smaller sizes of fruit juices and flavoured milks. Water is the preferred drink of choice and is classified green. Refer to the Healthy Choices Food and Drink Classification Guide or speak to us at the Healthy Eating Advisory Service if you'd like more information about how certain drinks are classified. The Healthy Choices guidelines apply in all types of settings where foods and drinks are available. For example, workplaces, parks, hospitals and health services, universities and sport and recreation centres. Healthy Choices is not specifically designed for sports clubs. We do acknowledge that sports clubs have variable needs, responsibilities and capacity regarding provision of healthy foods and drinks and largely rely on a volunteer workforce. However, where possible, clubs are encouraged to use the Healthy Choices guidelines as a guide to increase the availability of healthier foods and drinks if this is seen as a priority for them. Please note these guidelines also do not apply to early childhood services or school canteens. These settings actually follow different policies and guidelines, and refer to the HEAS website if you'd like more information on these settings. The Healthy Choices guidelines apply across a variety of different types of food services, such as cafeterias, cafes, coffee shops, kiosks and canteens. They also apply to mobile food vans, catering at meetings and events, workplace social activities where food might be supplied by the workplace, such as barbecues, drinks fridges, vending machines, and any fundraising activities as well. In terms of the framework of documents that underpins the Healthy Choices guidelines, the key document is the Healthy Choices Food and Drink Classification Guide. This provides specific detail on what types of foods and drinks are classified as green, amber, and red, including nutrient criteria. Then, for the different types of organisations, there are different policy guidelines, which provide advice on the scope of the policy and how to implement healthy choices in that particular setting. Currently, there are Healthy Choices policy guidelines for health services and hospitals, sport and recreation centres, workplaces and parks. These policy guidelines outline the standards for meeting the Healthy Choices guidelines in each setting, including targets for retail outlets, vending machines and catering, as well as sponsorship, fundraising and other promotional aspects of food and healthy eating. They also include an implementation guide to help you navigate through and make changes in your organisation, as well as policy and contract templates to help make your efforts sustainable. Using the Healthy Choices framework, sport and recreation centres can provide consistent health-promoting messages where the foods and drinks available through the centre reinforce positive messages about the importance of physical activity for good health.
Fantastic. Thank you for running through the Healthy Choices framework, Kate. We'll now pass on to Tara Hennigan, who is the Senior Project Officer in the Healthy Eating, Water and Sports Initiative at Victoria Health, or VicHealth, and she'll be outlining VicHealth's Water and Sports Initiative and highlighting some case studies. So welcome, Tara.
Thanks, Alice, and thanks everyone for tuning in today. It's great to see so many people listening in. So the VicHealth Water Initiative is an integrated program of work with the goal of more Victorians choosing water instead of drinks with added sugar. We chose to focus on this area as we see making water the drink of choice instead of sugary drinks as a significant first step to implementing the Victorian Government's Healthy Choices guidelines. So one of the ways VicHealth has tried to address this issue is by looking at ways we can nudge people towards healthier choices in public settings like sport and recreation clubs or facilities. This includes making small changes that improve the availability and promotion of water instead of sugary drinks. We've been supporting sports settings to create healthy sporting environments, including through the promotion of water as the drink of choice for a number of years now. And as a result, we actually have some really strong evaluation findings to support sport and recreation centres to make changes that I'll be sharing with you later. I'll just give a bit of an overview of the work we've done since 2015 in the space. So from 2015 to 17, VicHealth supported a range of local governments, sport clubs, associations and sport and recreation facilities to make healthy choices the easy choice within their sport venues by trialling a range of behavioural nudges such as taking red drinks off display in a fridge or limiting the availability of red drinks to less than 20% of the fridge. Key findings from the program evaluation showed that making changes in sport settings, such as decreasing the availability of sugary drinks and promoting the sale of water and healthier drinks, can shift consumption to healthier options without jeopardising profits. We were also able to build the evidence base for what works and address common misconceptions or barriers to making changes. Our key learnings from this program were used to inform the development of the Water and Sports Initiative, which is running from 2017 to 2020. And the Water and Sport Initiative is expanding the reach and impact of increasing access and promotion of water within sport and rec facilities. And this initiative also complements existing work in government-owned sport and recreation facilities, including the Department of Health's Healthy Choices, Policy Guidelines for Sport and Recreation Centres, and Sport and Recreation Victoria's Community Sport Infrastructure Fund guidelines. And for this work, we've partnered with 8 local councils to limit the availability of sugary drinks and promote water as the drink of choice. And I'll just actually go through them now that are interest. So that's East Gippsland, Frankston, Geelong, Greater Bendigo, Greater Shepparton, Melton, Northern Grampians and the Yarra Ranges. And some interesting points of difference with this program is that the Health Eating Advisory Service is providing program support to the 8 project officers who are employed to lead this work at council. And councils will also be investigating how they can sustain the changes through relevant government policies and procedures. Given that we are sort of at the start of this program, I unfortunately don't have any findings to tell you, but it is a bit of a watch this space at the moment. So VicHealth aims to encourage more Victorians to participate in sport to enjoy the physical, mental, social and other benefits that sport can offer. An important part of this is to ensure healthier food and drinks are provided in sporting environments. Sporting organisations are in the ideal position to lead by example in promoting healthier lifestyles and supporting the connection between sport and healthy food and drink choices to their players, volunteers and spectators. Unfortunately, although most Australians are aware of the benefits of healthy eating, sometimes healthier food and drink options are not the easy choice. Unhealthy food and drinks are often cheaper, they're more convenient and they're heavily promoted in many places, including sports clubs and venues. The community sports clubs can and do play a pivotal role in creating healthy environments that support the health and well-being of their communities. And not only is this good for everyone, but we know this is what people want, with 3 out of 4 people wanting access to healthier food and drinks options in Victorian sporting venues. But the good news is that sports clubs and facilities can make really small and simple changes to influence healthier lifestyles, And as we've been able to demonstrate with our evaluation, these changes can be made without negatively influencing profits. So there's many case studies of sporting clubs and facilities who have trialled nudges on the VicHealth Healthy Choice, the Easy Choice webpage. And if you haven't already, I'd recommend having a look at these. Today I'll just be highlighting 2 case studies that trial taking red drinks completely off display. And just as a refresher, what we mean by red drinks off display is exactly like the picture you can see here on this slide, with the single and double door fridges where any red drinks are covered from view with a poster. So for the Geelong Central Netball Association, they took all red drinks off display so that only water was visible in the fridge. And as an aside, they also introduced a range of healthier food options in the canteen. And key points to highlight was that they advised their community of the changes before they happened, which helped ease the transition, and their community took the viewpoint of making the changes as a duty of care that they had to all their participants. The change actually made no significant difference to their canteen revenue, and the feedback from parents was really positive. And it was their intention at the time to actually continue on with the changes that they made to the drink fridges. Now, the second is Glen Football Club. They actually went a step further and they completely removed red drinks for sale. And they were actually really surprised to see their canteen revenue increase during this period in which they completely removed red drinks, with sales of water increasing by 14%, cold amber drinks increasing by 6%, and their red drinks dropping by 16%. And they identified some key enablers for them, so that was the support that they received from their committee and their canteen manager, alongside a club management structure that proactively supported the changes. So during our trials, a number of barriers were raised to implementing nudges, and in some instances, these barriers did turn out to be more perceived than actually like the reality. So I'll go through a few of those. For example, there's often concerns before starting a trial and making changes that there'll be negative financial impacts, but there's a number of successful canteen nudge trials and work that's been done in sport and recreation facilities like the YMCA, showing that if you implement changes using the Victorian Government Healthy Choices guidelines, that revenue actually remains the same or it increases in some instances. Second is the support from club committee or your leadership team. So it can actually be really hard to make any changes if you don't have support from key leaders. And thankfully, though, there are a number of points you can use now to encourage your leadership team to get on board. For example, you could demonstrate the link between sport and health and well-being. You could link it to your duty of care to participants, the increasing number of sports organisations that are already making changes, so you don't want to be left behind, or that the changes can be small and they can be trialled, so nothing's permanent. You know, if you make a change and it doesn't work, you can go to something else. Third is community group support. So in some instances, sports clubs can feel that their community might not like these changes, but what we found is that the majority of sports settings that implemented changes reported mainly positive feedback from parents and kids following the change. Parents are often happier that less healthy options are no longer on display, as it makes it easier for their kids to choose healthy options. And as an aside, creating healthier sporting environments can also increase participation from new members who would not normally have joined. And lastly, the perceived difficulty in making changes. So initially it can seem quite difficult at first. However, our feedback from volunteers and staff that took part in our trials was that it's actually quite easy to just cover red drinks with posters and switch the layout of drinks in the fridge to promote water. And there's also a number of resources now available on the VicHealth Healthy Choice, the Easy Choice webpage, to help you understand how to lay out your fridge. Another aspect is classifying drinks according to the Healthy Choices guidelines and identifying alternatives. That can actually take a little bit of time at the outset. However, the food checker resource and the beverages list that's available through the HEAS really does help to speed up that process and make it easier. So for sports clubs and facilities looking to make changes to reduce the availability of sugary drinks, we recommend taking the following 7 steps. The first one being around planning. So we recommend you just get a picture of what you can do and what resources are available to help guide your approach. Look at the Getting Started page on the HEAS website, the Vic Sport Healthy Eating resources, and even see what other organisations have done on the VicHealth website. And just remember that not everything needs to be done at once. We would recommend setting small, achievable targets over time as your strategy. Second is to seek leadership commitment and gain support from your organisation, and look into how you might be able to leverage any support, funding, advice from your local council or sports association. And to make it easier, consider how you might be able to align with any existing healthy food and drink policies or requirements under the local health and wellbeing or sport, recreation and leisure plans. And a number of councils are actually working towards making water the beverage of choice in their area, so it's worthwhile checking in with your council to see if there's any resources available to support you. The third is playing to your organisation's strengths. So use your key influences, existing delivery channels to look at how you can promote healthier food and drink options within your current activities. There's really no need at this stage to reinvent the wheel. Consider trying nudges that other organisations have implemented successfully and tweak them if needed. The step 4 is involving and educating your staff, committee, volunteers, key influencers and suppliers to get them on board and work with them in partnership. It's important to make sure that you have buy-in from multiple people from multiple levels of your business to ensure sustainability of these changes in the long term. And again, as I keep saying, there's heaps of resources and support available through HEAS, VicHealth, Vic Sport, Rethink Sugary Drinks, and potentially your council. And even Water Authority as well. Step 5 is to actually deliver a healthy food or drink nudge and use the opportunity to promote why healthy choices are necessary to participants to ensure sustained behaviour change and kind of get that buy-in from people who are purchasing. Consider providing any health education material around the canteen or club to encourage people to choose water and discourage sugary drinks. And to keep the change on track, consider documenting and displaying planograms or guidelines on how to restock the fridge or outlining the new procedure to guide staff and volunteers. Step 6 is to evaluate your nudge over a specified period. At a minimum, I'd recommend just keeping track of sales data so you can actually see if there has been any changes in profit and make adjustments where needed. And if something's not working, just change it up. So one nudge doesn't have to be the end. You can try something different, for example, identifying new amber options or looking into pricing beverages differently. And step 7 is to embed the healthy change. So it's important to make sure you document your commitment to providing healthier options, and this could be in the form of a policy, procedure, or mission statement. Having a document ensures that your community understands your position and helps to ensure changes are sustained in the instance that you have key staff or volunteers move on. And just to wrap up from me, I'll just finish with just encouraging any sports clubs or organisations or facilities that are considering making changes just to give it a go. If you have the commitment there, it can be really quick and simple to make changes, and you'll be joining a growing number of sporting organisations that are reducing sugary drinks. Thanks. I'll hand back to Alice.
Thanks for that, Tara. It's so great to hear from the experience of VicHealth and the HEAS, especially in regards to the financial impact that these changes have had, and the great community support and increased participation that these local sports clubs were having. So thanks again for that. So I'll be presenting now. So my name is Alice Bastable, and I work as the Campaign Manager of Healthy Lifestyles at Cancer Council Victoria. And what I'll be discussing today is one of our social marketing campaigns called Rethink Sugary Drink. So Rethink Sugary Drink is a social marketing campaign that has pretty simple aims. We aim to increase the awareness of the huge amount of sugar in sugar-sweetened beverages in Australia. That includes sports drinks, soft drinks and energy drinks, and we are also concerned about the high levels of consumption that these drinks are consumed in Australia. and we are concerned about the detrimental health effects that this can have on our population. Rethink Sugary Drink was launched at Cancer Council Victoria in 2013. At that time, it was just 3 organisations that partnered to launch Rethink Sugary Drinks, but since then, we've now grown out to a national partnership of 20 leading health and community organisations. And since its launch in 2013, the campaign has expanded and includes many elements, including a website, several videos, posters, fact sheets, tailored resources for the Aboriginal and Torres Strait community, and work and school place guidelines for making changes to sugary drink availability. As well as working to educate people and raise awareness of the amount of sugar in sugary drinks and the high levels of consumption in Australia, Rethink Sugary Drinks also advocates for broader policy change, so I'll be discussing that in a few slides' time. So who does Rethink Sugary Drink target? We target the people that are drinking the most of these sugary drinks, and as most of us probably know, the highest consumers in Australia tend to be adolescent boys aged 14 to 18. We also target young adults aged between 18 and 24, parents with children, and particularly those from lower socioeconomic statuses, adults who are overweight or obese and regularly consume these sugary drinks, Aboriginal and or Torres Strait Islander Victorians, or Australians, sorry, particularly young parents. And we also target people who make policy. So what I'll do now is just guide you through some screenshots of the Rethink Sugary Drink website. And this website is really where you'll find all of the resources or information that I'll be referring to today. It's a fantastic website, so I'd highly encourage those of you who haven't seen the website before to jump on and have a look around. The website contains a lot of videos, previous commercials that have been used in digital communications, consensus statements, population-specific materials and posters for the Aboriginal population, competition entry forms, facts and information about consumption of sugary drinks, the health effects policy, and case studies of those organisations who have reduced the availability of sugary drinks. It's also got some great toolkits on the website as well, so jump on and have a look. For those working in these sorts of organisations, particularly for sport and rec centres, the For Professionals section of the website is where you'll find most of the useful information. I'll just highlight a few of the things that are in this section, and I guess one of the major things that is of most use is the key messages and definitions. So these are documents where we've got all of our partners to agree upon what we define as a sugary drink. We've got fantastic information on the health effects, consumption data in Australia, and agreed upon policy actions required. We've also got access to the International Sugary Drinks Guidelines and how much sugar we should be consuming, the settings resources as mentioned, but really relevant publications, including consumption data in Australia, good quality evidence between the link that sugary drinks have on our health and obesity, and very, very solid evidence about the fact that sugary drinks can contribute to weight gain and detrimental health effects, which is sometimes very, very useful to help back up your argument. We've also got some information in this section on the economic analysis of sugary drinks and how much damage they are doing to our health. We also have links in this section of relevant case studies, including the Alfred Health, YMCA, other hospitals, and some local sport and rec centres as well. I've just got here just some of the things that are available, resources and toolkits for your workplace or your sport and rec centre that may be of use. Particularly here, there's a lot of pre-made, ready-made graphics and advertising material that we're happy to share, and all of this is downloadable through the Rethink Sugary Drink website. So they're colourful, they're interactive, they're well designed, and they have, a lot of these have bite-sized information chunks about sugary drinks and why we need to be consuming less of them. On the section as well, there's also some uploaded videos of the Sugar Hit Forum that was held at Cancer Council Victoria in 2017, and this focuses on showcasing some sport and rec centres and also healthcare settings that have actually made these changes. So it's a good video and worth a watch, and it's available on the Rethink Sugary Drink website. Now, as I've previously mentioned, Rethink Sugary Drink isn't just about educating and raising the awareness to the individual. We also aim to advocate for policy change on a national level. And under the policy section or the advocacy section in the sport professionals, you'll certainly see some very, very useful documents. The key ones that will be of use for building an argument could be the position statement on a health levy or a sugar tax on sugary drinks or sugar sweetened beverages. This is an agreed upon statement from all of the partners. The consensus statement on key messages, so we're all saying the same message, using the same good quality evidence, and we're all advocating for the same thing, so it's getting, I guess, a stronger argument behind us there. There's also links to a policy brief on reducing consumption of sugary drinks, so what kind of strategies we all need to be incorporating to achieve this in Australia. And as I mentioned earlier, it's also got some great publications and article links there as well. We've got some fantastic videos that we've made up. Unfortunately, I can't play them through the webinar at the moment, but it's well worth a look. There's just some great videos you can use to try and promote some of these changes in your sport or rec centre. So again, jump on and have a look at what videos we've made. We're happy for these to be used to promote any kind of messages you're trying to get out there about reducing sugary drinks. We've also got a lot of tailor-made and tailor-targeted Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander specific resources and content, and this has been really, really fantastic. We've had a lot of local buy-in with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander groups. There's a particularly great section on the website that focuses on the Our Stories campaign, and what it is some really inspiring videos available featuring prominent Victorian Aboriginal community members sharing their stories about how cutting back on sugary drinks has really helped their health and well-being. And this was led by Rethink Sugary Drink and the Victorian Aboriginal Community Controlled Health Organisation, or VACCHO. So there's great posters, campaigns and videos out there for, particularly in sport and rec centres, with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander groups. I'll just highlight an upcoming digital campaign that Rethink Sugary Drink is running in November this year. So I'm not sure how many people are aware, but the effect of sugary drinks on our dental health is fairly significant. Dental conditions are the most common cause of potentially preventable hospitalisation cases in young Victorians under 19, and it's the most common cause of tooth decay in children. So this campaign will be played digitally, and what it aims to do is to illustrate the damage that sugary drinks have to your teeth, illustrate the speed at which they can damage. It makes young men feel personally susceptible to dental or tooth issues, and it's motivating young men to cut back on sugary drinks. So this is certainly a campaign to keep an eye out on in November this year, and you can use this again to promote some of those detrimental effects of sugary drinks if you're trying to reduce the availability in your sport or rec centre. The Rethink Sugary Drink site also runs some competitions. So this year we've run 2 competitions, the first of which is called Critics' Choice, and what it is it aims to target primary schools, and there's a competition where all the primary schools have to enter and watch 9 internationally made videos highlighting the amount of sugar in sugary drinks or encouraging people to consume less of them. Schools then vote for the winning response, and they can win some $500 sporting equipment prizes. And the winner of this year's Critics' Choice Award was a fantastic campaign from Singapore. called Kung Fu Fighter Hidden Sugar, and it's well worth a watch. It's a fantastic ad, and that was chosen to be the most popular Critics' Choice. So this competition has ended today, or ended this year, sorry, but what we are launching today is the second competition of the year, and that's the Rethink Sugary Drink Best and Fairest competition. So entries have been officially opened today on that URL, and this is a really great way to get your local sport or rec centre on board with making some of these changes. So the Best and Fairest competition is a Victorian-based competition coordinated by Rethink Sugary Drink, and it's aiming sport and rec centres to demonstrate positive steps in decreasing sugary drink availability. So what people can do is they can jump on that URL and they can follow a few brief steps, uploading a short video about how their club or sports centre has made changes, fill in a couple of entry form requirements, and then you go into the draw to win one of two $500 sporting equipment vouchers. So it's a great competition. It's a great way to promote these changes and get people on board, and to share and celebrate what changes your local club are doing. So the competition closes in early December, so you do have quite a while to enter this. So we'd encourage everyone to get behind this competition and to put your entries in. Just before I hand back over to Kate, I'd just also like to highlight a relevant campaign in regards to sugary drinks that the Cancer Council Victoria are running. So in October this year, the Cancer Council Victoria will be running a mass media campaign to communicate that overweight or obesity are risk factors for 13 types of cancer, and to communicate that one way of avoiding weight gain, which can increase your risk of certain cancers, is to simply cut sugary drinks from your diet. So again, this campaign will be really making that link between sugary drinks and weight gain and encouraging people to decrease their consumption. So keep an eye out, and if anybody has inquiries about this campaign, you can certainly get in touch with me. Okay, so that's everything from my end from Rethink Sugary Drink. Get on the website, there's a lot of fantastic resources there, and I'll pass on to Kate just to wrap up about the Healthy Eating Advisory Service and what great supports they can offer you to make these changes. So thank you, Kate.
Great, thanks, Alice. So yeah, I'll just touch on a little bit about how the Healthy Eating Advisory Service can support you. So if you are looking to seek further support to either begin looking at healthier options or continue offering some healthier foods and drinks in your sporting facilities, Healthy Eating Advisory Service is definitely here to help you. So the Healthy Eating Advisory Service itself is funded by the Victorian Government and delivered by Nutrition Australia Victorian Division. We offer support to sport and recreation centres to offer healthier foods and drinks through implementing the Healthy Choices Guidelines. And as Tara mentioned before, we also work quite closely with VicHealth through our support of the Water in Sport project and the 8 councils participating in that. HEAS offers a number of online assessment tools that anyone can use. Our Food Checker tool can be used to search for drinks and check their traffic light classification. You can also use it to assess recipes that the facility might be making themselves on site, or you can put in your entire canteen or kiosk menu to see if it meets the Healthy Choices Guidelines for retail food outlets. If your facility or club has vending machines, you can use our Healthy Vending Assessment tool to see if they meet the guidelines for vending machines. And the Healthy Eating Advisory Service also offers a lot of training options for different types of people working with sport and recreation facilities as well. So HEAS offers both face-to-face and online training for canteen managers, cooks and chefs to understand the Healthy Choices Guidelines and how to provide and promote healthier foods and drinks. We also offer online training for customer service staff who might be working in these facilities to help them understand the guidelines and how to communicate changes to customers and visitors. HEAS also provides a mentorship program for professionals in local councils or other organisations who are working with their local sport and recreation centres and clubs to be able to help them implement the Healthy Choices Guidelines as well. The Healthy Eating Advisory Service website has a wide variety of resources to assist sport sport and recreation centres to make changes. This includes a number of fact sheets, different green and amber recipes that could be implemented in the facilities, planning templates for starting to make changes, and different case studies on sport and recreation centres and how they've gone about making changes. So please visit the Healthy Eating Advisory Service website or give Heath a call at any time. I'll have the details of how to contact us in a couple of slides' time. So give us a call or send us an email at any time to discuss our services in more detail. We would love to support you in reducing or removing sugary drinks from your sporting facility or your club. So just as a bit of a wrap-up as well, and this is also, I guess, very consistent and similar to what Tara's also mentioned before, but just as a bit of a final summary. It's really important to note that providing healthier drinks is really only one part of the bigger picture of promoting healthy eating within your facility or club. And in order to create that sustainable change and ensure that your facility or club supports healthy eating or healthy food and drink options in the future, these are just a few things you should also consider as well. Seeking commitment and leadership from management of your facility or of your club around healthy eating and providing healthier options. Developing and embedding a healthy eating policy into your organisation, or embedding healthy eating into any existing health and wellbeing policies that your facility or club might have as well. Engaging with your food service providers and working collaboratively with them, so that might be any ones that you have contracts with in terms of drink providers, or any food service staff that might be in your facility as well. It's really important to engage them and have them on the journey, because they'll actually be the ones at the end of the day who might be implementing a lot of the changes that you're asking them. Having key staff or volunteers in your facility or club complete training about providing and promoting healthier foods and drinks. And yeah, as I just mentioned before about the Healthy Eating Advisory Service training that's available, that's also very good to connect them with as well. And also, making a plan, starting small, prioritising what your changes will be, such as Tara mentioned, implementing some of the nudges that VicHealth have on their website to help build some confidence, and looking at some of the other resources and supports that are available as well. Don't feel like you have to tackle all of this on your own. Heath is definitely here to support you with every step of the change process, as well as through the support available through VicHealth as well. So in terms of our availability at the Healthy Eating Advisory Service, we're all available Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. on phone and email. My role is the coordinator for sport and recreation, so I can assist with anything relating to providing healthier foods and drinks in leisure centres and club canteens as well. So that's the address for the Healthy Eating Advisory Service website. There's also the phone numbers that you can dial as well. And it'd be great to hear from a few of you, hopefully after today as well, and that's my direct email address too. And we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Okay, so that's a wrap for the presentation, and I hope that you have found today's webinar useful and informative, and I hope that it can give you more confidence in reducing sugary drink availability in your sport or rec centre. Thank you to all of the listeners for participating today, and thank you to our speakers, Kate and Tara, and a special thank you to Claire O'Shea and to Sally-Ann O'Ryan from Cancer Council Victoria in helping us get this webinar up and running. So for those who are staying away for the Q&A session, get your questions ready because we'll be shortly taking them. If you did ask a question at registration and you haven't yet had it covered, now is a good time to send that through. So we've currently just turned the Q&A webinar function on, and this should automatically appear on the right side of your screen, depending on what kind of device you are watching. When you want to ask a question, please enter your question in the text box at the bottom of the page, and your question will not be submitted until you press the send button. So you need to make sure that you press send after typing it in. So we do have the ability to answer questions publicly so every participant can see, or privately, but you will need to indicate whether you want your question to be answered privately as you type it in. We'll do our best to answer all of the questions we can today, but if at the end of this session you have any unanswered questions, please feel free to follow up through the email addresses in this presentation. So we'll now be turning off the speaker and going on to the typed Q&A, so you won't be able to hear anything more, but you will be able to read and see the questions. So we'll send an email through in the next week or so with the link to the recording and any of the links to the supports or resources that we've been discussing today. So just on behalf of Rethink Sugary Drink and our panellists from Nutrition Australia and VicHealth, we would like to say thank you for your participation this afternoon. Hopefully you found it useful and enjoy the remainder of your day. Thank you.